YouTubers, it is I, 3 Hellgear. Now you've probably heard this, you've probably seen the Nintendo Twitter page, you've probably seen the US Tumblr page for Splatoon. And apparently, it's not a joke. July Splatfest will be the, quote, final Splatfest of Splatoon. And I figured this would be a good opportunity for me to talk about my thoughts and opinions on the matter. I will link in the description below the Twitter post, because this was on the Nintendo of America Twitter. I will also link in the description below this same article on the US Splatoon Tumblr page. So, let's get down into it. And before I do, I just want to say, share your voice on this. Feel free to say your piece when it comes to this being the final Splatfest. And of course, say your piece on my thoughts, whether you agree or disagree with anything that I'm going to say herein. And, you know, I normally don't ask for this sort of thing, but I would really appreciate hearing your responses to everything. Because if you play Splatoon, and a lot of you do, this final Splatfest should be something that is, you know, it piques your interests or disinterests. Anyway, let's talk about the theme. So the theme of this one, which I'll be honest with you, I didn't see this coming at the end of Early Birds versus Night Owls. You know, when they said that the next Splatfest they were playing for keeps and it got personal, no one would have ever thought that it would have been the final Splatfest. But the teams are going to be Team Cali versus Team Marie. The Splatfest is slated for Friday, July 22nd to Sunday, yes, Sunday, July 24th. All the regions are going to have the same topic, and they want to try and start it at the same time, which on the western side of the world, they're saying 2 a.m. So my advice to everyone is, one, come Thursday night, eat a good dinner, go to bed, set the timer for 1:45 a.m. That way you can get up, grab you something to eat, dust off the touchpad, be ready to go. If you work post-vacation, you know, don't call in sick to work because you want to do Splatfest. Post-vacation. And if you don't have one of those jobs where you can post-vacation, try to talk to somebody who doesn't have an aficionado for Splatoon and see if you can work your days around with them. So, Team Cali, Team Marie, 2 a.m. A lot of people choose their Splatfest teams based on the Squid Sister themselves. I've always chosen it to the one that I either like, think will win, or most describes me. And part of me still feels that this is like a big joke, and I'm waiting for the Nintendo rep to come out and say, oh, we're sorry about saying this is going to be the final Splatfest. We know how important it is to all of you players out there. The guy who posted this will be reprimanded. We apologize for the inconvenience. You know, two reasons I can think of as to why this being the final Splatfest, because we know eventually you're going to have to stop doing Splatfests, but I have two specific reasons why this one coming up in July, this July Splatfest being the last or final one, is a bad idea. The number two reason is simple. There's a lot of potential in Splatoon. You can put in a lot more modes, especially for the ranked. Now, the ranked battles, I was hoping they'd make a mode where it's X amount of splats and that side wins. Every shooting game, especially the first-person shooters like Call of Duty, and I've joked about Splatoon being the watered-down Call of Duty, and even the brand new Overwatch have this mode in their game. Overwatch even has a prestige system, and I was thinking, why doesn't Splatoon have this? You know, there's a lot of potential you can put into this game. Sure, it's targeted for 10-year-olds and up, but a lot of us grown-ups play this too. And the main reason why I say this is a bad idea is because this month in July is when Nintendo's dropping the brand new Splatoon amiibos. You know, the Inkling repaints, and of course, Callie and Marie's amiibos as well. And if these are going to drop during or after Splatfest, we're not really going to benefit from them. I personally don't plan on getting the repaint Inkling ones unless there's new clothes or new weapons, because I have the original 3. Which side am I going to take? I really don't know. I mean, the only Splatfest I didn't participate in was the Pokemon one. The other ones, I was there. You know, I was on Team Cat. I was on Team Roller Coaster. I was on Team Marshmallow. Team Science. Team Decepticon, Team Ninja, Team Plane, Team Naughty. I was on Team Patrick. I was on the past team. I wanted to do the future, but I decided I would roll with the past because future would have super high pops. I was on the Team Fancy Party for the Miitomo one. And of course, Team Night Owl. I was also on Team Burger for that Splatfest. I'm not sure if I'm missing one, but you know, I really choose the one that most concerns me. And of course, Munchi here is not happy about these being the final Splatfest. I mean, she likes to watch me as I get down. It's really colorful for her, even if she is like 19 months old. Anyway, let's talk about the regions. All the regions are going to do the same thing, and they want to try to start this at the exact same time. 2 a.m. Pacific. Now, from a geological standpoint, I believe that Japan is 14-hour time difference from the West Coast, so that would be like, what? Yeah, that's actually right, 4 in the afternoon. So 4 in the afternoon for them until 4 in the afternoon 2 days later. And they're going to have it so that the European Inklings face off against the European Inklings, the Americans against the Americans, Asians versus the Asians. First and foremost, scrub that. See, even the Munchkin agrees. If you're going to give this the last hurrah, I want to be able to take on the Inklings from all around the world, just like we did in the Miitomo Splatfest, which was lovely, mind you. Now, they mentioned that Nintendo Network Inklings who have their IDs linked into their email, they'll be getting a ballot to vote on which of the stages we get, because they're going to let us vote. Whether I get a ballot or not, my stance on the stage choosing is this. We should be able to play on all the stages for this final Splatfest. But set it up so instead of us having like 3 stages, because we're probably going to vote on 3 stages, or they'll have us vote on 1 and then pick the top, and then the top 3 voted stages will be in the Splatfest. Make it so that the stage is set like a big blank question mark and it's random, and have Callie and Marie be like, well, normally we would announce the Splatfest battle stages, but we figure we're going to let you battle on all of them. However, the one that you pick, the one that you battle on is picked completely at random. That would add to the fun and the pizzazz to it, in my opinion. Now, since this is going to be lasting 2 days instead of the usual 1 day, there are a few things about Splatfest that I would like to throw questions on. You know, put these shaded questions in the sun. obviously you can see my gear is 1-star gear. And a lot of players, especially the ones whose very first Splatfest was early bird versus night owl, and if that was your very first Splatfest, I apologize, because you will never really appreciate the real glory of other Splatfests. So, the sea snails. Are we going to get more sea snails than just the regular? Because, you know, the losing team at king level gets 18, while the winning team at king level gets 24, I think. Can we get a minimum twice as many sea snails after this Splatfest? That would be nice to take 36 home, even if I'm on the losing side. The second question is, are we going to be able to buy extra slots for our gear? You know, Spike lets us trade over sea snails for extra slots in the gear, and yeah, you don't want that anymore. And if this is going to be the last chance for us to get super sea snails, you know, plus there are a lot of the users who don't have all their gear 4-slotted. Are we going to be able to have the 4-slotted, or is it going to be just stuck on 2 slots for the rest of the game? Another issue with Splatfests is the T-shirt. If this is going to be the final Splatfest, you guys are seriously not fooling about this, even though I say it's a bad business deal. No offense, but bad business deal, especially with the new amiibos dropping this July. Can we keep the Splatfest tee this time? I mean, normally at the end of Splatfest, we have to give the Splatfest tee back, but if this is going to be the final Splatfest, we should at least be able to keep this t-shirt. You know, give us some kind of memory. And if it is like a stretch, just to stretch it out, have Jalonzo sell all the other Splatfest tees in his shop, especially since we're not getting any more clothing. Yeah, the Korokoro hat and hoodie, I need more clothes. And I say that with the emphasis of a lot of Inklings, need more clothes. But let's flip the coin for a minute about this being the final Splatfest. In light of all the memes on Miiverse of Inklings being drawn crying, and this is the last Splatfest, and the hashtag Save Our Splatfests, all that. What does this mean? Is this the game program? Is this Nintendo's way of saying that the next Splatoon is on its way? Now, if the next Splatoon is on its way, that'd be a bit of a softer blow to take, seeing as there won't be any more Splatfests for this. Personally, if you guys announce after Callie and Marie's Splatfest, okay, the reason why we're calling this the final Splatfest is because we plan on launching the second Splatoon game sometime soon. I mean, I figured you'd drop it on the next Nintendo system, and we would have Splatfest all the way up to at least February 17. You guys said you were going to try to drop it in March 17 anyway with Breath of the Wild. Another issue that I would like to ask, and this is something that a lot of players agree with me on, is being an Octoling for this Splatfest. Well, not just the Splatfest, but being an Octoling in general. I've said this often. I consider myself to be an Octoling disguised as an Inkling. But if we had the ability to be an Octoling for this final Splatfest, that would rock. I know a lot of artists who draw what they think the male Octoling looks like. Some have even drawn them in Miiverse. You know, that would be really cool to actually be an Octoling for this Splatfest. Other than that, as far as gear is concerned, I encourage everyone to level up their clothing. Simply put, we're not going to be able to use any clothing anyway, so you're stuck with the Splatfest tee. Also, take this opportunity to level up all of your hats, your headgear, your shoes, because you're going to want to bring your best when it comes to this Splatfest, because this is the take it or leave it, double down poker type deal. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say. And I'm sure that's all the Munchian's gonna say. So, like I said, in the comments below, please give me your thoughts on this being the final Splatfest. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of my points. You know, I would normally end this with my usual outro, but I don't know if you guys will raise your thumbs if you've indeed enjoyed this one or not. But, yeah, I know I'm getting to the outro. Regardless, let me take my goose from the oven because I'm done. I'll be waiting for your responses in the comments section, everyone. See you soon.